North Alabama School for Organizers presents Fireside Chats, intersectional education through interviews with the organizations and people making real change right now. Listen, learn, and organize with Nassau and Fireside Chats.
Well, we're very lucky and fortunate, and I'm honored to have some good friends here tonight on the Fireside Chat. You know, Zach Silverman Hyden, I've known for a long time. I'm going to meet Josh, who was also with the Automotive Free Clinic. And these folks are running a program which is a very, very important survival program, for people, because cars are survival objects. People need it to get back to work. They need it to travel. Some people actually need it to sleep in. So cars can be much more than just for transportation, but it's a survival object for a lot of people. I worked in the automotive business for years. I know what it's like to not to be able to repair cars. Want to talk to you guys about a little bit about, if you give me something about your background, Zach and Josh. Just to kind of figure out and let people know a little bit about how you got actually into this Automotive Free Clinic and what brought it about. Give us a little bit of talk on that.
All right. Well,
go ahead, Josh.
all right. Basically, I met Zach about 4 years ago at UAB. He was doing a panel, and we met there for the first time. I was still in school. I have a degree in anthropology from UAB. And from there, I kind of got involved with Zach's cooperative new school. And we took one of his classes called Redneck Studies. And we ended up writing a paper that I really liked. And it was an interesting topic. And I think, obviously Zach really liked it too. But from there, I think that class is what really bore the idea of the Automotive Free Clinic. And Zach could probably speak more to that. But as far as that's my path to being involved with the AFC. And Zach, you can go ahead and tell your path, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's right. The AFC is a white working class survival organization. We're organized based on the principles set forth by Kwame Ture that white people should start their own organizations and organize around anti-racism and our own political and economic disenfranchisement. We're also organized structurally like the Young Patriots was organized, in that we work in coalition with Black-led organizations, and we do, in fact, practice reparations. We give 10% of our revenue to Black or Indigenous-led organizations, and we've been doing that for about 6 months. Our sort of take on racism is that what Fred Hampton said, which is that you don't defeat racism with more racism, you defeat racism with solidarity. So we're looking to be in solidarity with Black and Indigenous people really everywhere in the world. My personal journey, I started out, I'm from Alabama, grew up in a working class family. When I graduated high school, I went to work as an automotive technician in Huntsville, Alabama, at Stringfellow and Solly Auto Repair, which is still in existence. And after about 7 years of that, pressure from my family, I went to college, which may have been the worst decision of my life, but I did. I went to college. I ended up getting a PhD from Berkeley. came out from Berkeley and started Magic City Agriculture Project in Birmingham, which was an anti-racist and community development organization that lasted until about 2016. That was the first organization that I ever founded. Then we started the Cooperative New School for Urban Studies and Environmental Justice, which is an online popular education institution of higher learning. And that is still in operation. I'm still a faculty member there. And I'm definitely on sabbatical right now to start the Automotive Free Clinic. I got out of activism for a couple of years. I was burnt out. We had a huge loss in Birmingham, a really huge loss. We got a mayor elected who turned on us as soon as he got elected, as he took office. And it was a very, very difficult thing for me to deal with. And I was burnt out. And I got out of activism for a couple of years and went back and worked in the automotive field. And I worked at a dealership as an auto technician for a couple of years. And then the pandemic hit, and I realized that with my education and my leadership abilities and my automotive skills, that I couldn't sit back and watch people suffer. So me and Josh and Reggie and others got together and started the Automotive Free Clinic, and we're coming up in March on our 1-year anniversary. And if you want to find us, you can find us at automotivefreeclinic.org.
Right. Yeah, I see. I definitely see how this can be a survival program because, the Rainbow Coalition and Patriots, where we had, survival programs pending revolution. And that's the way I still look at some of the programs that I'm involved with today. And I know you do too, because there's a political aspect behind what you're doing, a revolutionary structure behind it. And I think that's important if we're going to be reaching as many people as we possibly can to try to change what's going on in our world today. But you have to give people something a lot of time before they'll listen to you, and you can't just go out and talk a lot of rhetoric. Maybe I'm saying what you should be saying, but you can't go out and just give people a lot of rhetoric and expect them to follow you. They follow people that have something to offer. And I think you guys have a lot to offer here. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think you're right, Hy. In the age of social media, there are a lot of hashtag activists. But real revolutionary work is about service to the community and about helping people get the things that they need and earning the trust of the people by showing them that you care about them in a genuine way and not in, a bullshit way. And if you do earn the trust of the people genuinely, then you have the opportunity to talk to the people about their condition.
Yes.
And the people know their conditions, but they're not going to listen to you unless they trust you.
That's right. It's that's almost in anything you do in terms of movement. Sitting back and just talking doesn't always work out. We all know that. So Josh, by the way, I also have a degree in anthropology, so my sympathies.
Great minds. Yeah.
I have a degree in anthropology too.
Yeah. We're all in trouble now.
Yeah.
And if I could add something, I think that our popular education part of our AFC, which is still kind of getting developed and going to get off the ground, but I think that's going to be a good cultural force with change, what you're talking about with this political change that we're looking for. The political change can only happen, in my mind, through cultural change, because that's what's really got us all trapped is our ways of thinking. And if we can teach people and show people a different way, and like what we're saying, get out and practice and do something for somebody and show benefit to the community, they'll be open to different different dialogues and maybe learning something new and learning it in a different way.
Yeah, and I have to agree. And I think one of the ways that we do that, especially if we start looking at culture, and what you're talking about, the culture, which is basically just the learned behavior, but the commonalities, you can look at people from different cultures and see what commonalities are, what they have in common, and then you can work from there. You take people in every color, and everybody's going to have something in common, especially if you're going to be working with the working class people. They're all going to have those problems that working class people have, just that some people are, I guess, more privileged than others, one might say. But we're all going to have that. That's really important. That's really important to know. And how do we put that in action? We do through. It's lost Zach. We do through the various programs we have. But can you tell me a little bit more about the educational aspect of AFC and what you're doing in that or want to do, and what the future of it is?
So we've been doing pop ed internally with the AFC since the very beginning. We meet twice a week and we read different books. We've read Capital volumes 1, 2, and 3, the Grundrisse by Karl Marx. We've read Gramsci. We've read about pirates, and we're reading The Wretched of the Earth right now. And it's really not about the books we're reading. It's about developing relationships and building trust and solidarity among each other. The books are just there to give us something in common to talk about. We're looking at, currently we pitched a project to a local agency to start doing some cooperative training in a public housing project. Not sure if that project is going to go through or not, but that would be an expansion of our popular education program. We'll see. That's up in the air right now. That's what we've been doing. We also have a magazine called Populist Mechanics, which is a leftist magazine, which also serves as a type of popular education. And then, the stuff we do on social media, like the Deep South Roundtable, which is a discussion group among people from Tunisia, Mexico, Alabama, and Eastern Kentucky, where we all come together and discuss solidarity and how the things like how I was saying, the stuff that we have in common and our common experiences across the globe as dispossessed people. So we have sort of tentacles of popular education going out in all different directions. I think there has to be both types of engagement, which is the material engagement, which is what you do, such as fixing cars, serving the community, and the engagement with ideas, which is the popular education part of it. And I think that when you have those two things together, you have a really strong organization that can really make waves in the community and really, we hope to be able to make waves globally, ultimately. So, yeah.
That's really important because we want to eventually start an AFC here. And I am already making contacts with the public housing, with the city and people who are open to this. And I think we can get it into there, which is kind of interesting. That's what you're heading toward also. Yeah. And I think that's important to, if you drive into any of the public housing here, you're going to see almost abandoned cars that are, would take just a little bit to get them running, but people don't know where to start. and they can't get it down to say Advanced Auto or any of those places to put one of those diagnostic tools on them because they can't even get started.
Yeah.
And so I think this is an area that, and especially going to be a problem in the years to come when they get into electric cars.
Yeah.
What's going to happen then?
You're gonna have a tech wall. There was a tech wall in the mid '90s when they went over to fuel injection, and a lot of techs got out.
Mm.
And when the electric cars come, you're talking probably 10 years before they become really all the infrastructure's there for it, and everybody's got them. You're gonna see techs get out, and you're gonna see a whole new crop of young techs. And that's what I tell people who say they're coming up as techs. I say, man, you got to learn electric cars. I was like, don't even bother with the gas burners. Like, learn electric cars.
Yeah.
That's what I tell them, the young techs that are in high school, working on old hot rods and stuff. I'm like, this stuff is not going to help you. You need, and really, everything's electronic now anyway. Cars are really reliable nowadays. And this is off topic, but yeah, I'm sorry, I went off topic. My bad.
No, that's right on target because it's on topic. Because people are gonna have to know this kind of stuff, and there's gonna have to be, I think, more people around like you and Josh and others who can somewhat show people direction, get the direction they need to go in, or even start building resources for that. The problem with us organizers is that a lot of times we do a lot of crisis organizing, and we don't organize until it's a crisis, Yeah. And so I think we have to start planning more in the future, and like you were saying about, you're going to educate people and teach people about their cars, that can happen anywhere. We did it in the Young Patriots with the Free Health Clinic. We had a separate group that from the community that they worked in the clinic, but at the same time they were learning medical skills, medical coding, and that kind of stuff. And then therefore they could enter into the hopefully into the medical field, health field, and get a job. And a lot of them did, so I think we have to look at that too. And what we're looking at in terms of NASA here is that right now we're pretty much an educational school, because we educate to organize, but we need to get more into the survival programs like you're into. And others are into, because we can have all the education in the world, but if you can't put it to practice and you can't learn about it, it's not worth very much.
Yeah, agreed.
It has to be a political, with us, we're certainly want it to be political and progressive, in what we're trying to do.
So I wanted to jump off something that you said about thinking into the future, and the AFC is definitely thinking, 25 or 30 years into the future. And I kind of want Josh to speak on what our vision is for, the AFC network, and also, the stuff we talk about as far as what our vision for a future society would be.
Okay.
Yeah. Basically, you kind of, I reacted a little bit when we are definitely not an emergency type organization. Might appear, well, I guess we are, because the system's made us that way. But to me, we're more of an under a safety net for the safety net, and because the safety net's failing, which is our government and our institutions. So we are a safety net for the safety net. And the way I like to look at it is we're the future. I mean, that's going to crumble, and the popular education, empowering individuals in their communities and in their own families is what the future is to me. And much more kind of decentralized, especially with the communication technology, much more decentralized society is what I kind of see for the future. And I'd like to see basically an AFC in every major city in the future. And I'm talking 50 years from in the future from now. And I'd like to see us worldwide where we even have where there's not a country in the world that doesn't have an AFC, because once again, this is not only an American or USA problem. I mean, these are our institutions that are worldwide connected, and they're all failing us, and they're failing, their people just like our institutions are failing ours. They're all outdated, and everything's technology has moved so much faster than our safety nets, our institutions. And so now that's all kind of catching up with us. But we're creating, I think, the way I like to look at it, is a flexible network of a flexible organization that is has education as well as a practical element, that our part is getting people back on the road. Hopefully there's other organizations that spring up like the Automotive Free Clinic, and maybe they focus on food or clothing or housing, whatever people's gifts are. They get together, form these groups, and start empowering people in their families and in their communities to take charge of their own lives, and we'll all be okay if we stick together and we don't need these hierarchical institutions. That's the past, and we're heading into the future.
Yeah, and I think the biggest barrier to that is people don't think they can do anything. People have been trained, basically trained to be helpless, and by these same institutions that are crumbling, and that's on purpose, because if you train people to be helpless, they won't resist. And I think the biggest barrier is not the skills people have. People have plenty of skills. Even if you look in public housing, there's people doing hair, there's people making food, there's people working on their own cars, there's people selling weed, which is a skill, and it's a business skill. And, the problem is that people don't understand that those things are skills. It's just something that they do. And, I think the biggest goal of popular education is to engage people's imaginations about what could be, for themselves, about what could be for society, and to get them to stop thinking about that, everything is impossible. And, I love the idea of engaging people's imaginations. That's really what my popular education is about, is about getting people to imagine something different.
Yeah, I think that's important. I think it starts with the imagination. Every ideal starts with the imagination, and you got to follow through. But walk us through. Can you walk us through? Okay, I have a car, and it sputters. Trying to drive it, can't get it started. I'm also ASE. I was, but mine mostly stood for ask somebody else. But we get that all the time. I mean, you get that kind of stuff when in the store, and as being a mechanic, what would I do if I come to you and I said, I got this problem, my car, whatever. What do I look at here? Let's say it's a old carbureted car. We know those.
To tell you the truth, I probably have rebuilt a grand total of 2 carburetors in my entire life, and they never ran right again. So
no, they don't. They never do.
Much better with fuel injection and stuff that I can hook the computer up to and read the codes.
Yeah.
See if it says lean or rich. I can't smell the gas and tell if it's lean or rich. I read the code that says, hey, like the oxygen sensor is reading lean.
Yeah.
We try to educate the community members about what's going on with their cars. I think a lot of the distrust in the automotive industry is that it's for profit, and we're not for profit. And so when you have the for profit situation, the shop is trying to make money off the customer, and the customer is trying to save as much money as possible. So you have an antagonistic relationship right there. The the customer doesn't know very much about the car. And, these guys who are service writers, they're not sophisticated dudes and they're not great communicators, and they can't describe in detail what is wrong with the car in a way that the community member can understand.
Yeah.
So it's just a bad situation.
Yeah.
Service writers are not bad dudes. Auto mechanics are not bad dudes, but there's a communication barrier between community members and techs. In our shop, I am a good communicator. I have a PhD. So I'm lucky that I do have that. And I am a good communicator and I can explain complex systems to community members. But more than that, it's just that there's no antagonistic relationship. We're not trying to make a dollar off people.
Right.
We get donations. So we're sustainable with the donations. We can do all of the work for free if we have to. We would like for community members to contribute, but they don't have to if they don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
And if they come in and they got, I had a car come in and had a VSP code. The VSP is some vehicles cut cylinders out at cruising speeds to save on fuel economy. And her VSP is malfunctioning and causing it to cut the cylinders out all the time. So her 6-cylinder is running on 4. So, I told her that's what's wrong with it. But at the same time, there's a lot of stuff that I don't know about cars. So I have more experienced technicians than me that are helping me diagnose these vehicles when it's a complex problem. That was a problem that I didn't know and that I couldn't diagnose myself. So I went and talked to one of my tech friends. So, the thing about the way we do things, we have a hashtag. It's called Redefine Work. And, it's got to be good for it's got to be good for the community member, but it's also got to be good for the tech, and it's got to be uplifting and fun, and it's got to be good for everybody involved. So our shop takes a little longer to do things than a traditional shop. We don't try to bang out 30 cars a week. We're working on 2-3 cars a week, and we try to do it right and take our time. But it takes us longer, and, but we get them fixed.
And I think, say for instance, when it gets warmer, unless we have a shop, we'll probably start out with inviting, people, mostly, single parent females, to come and just learn general maintenance, for instance. Most people can change the oil if they knew how. They can check their tire pressures, they can check their brakes, and they can do minor repairs. Whereas I've had someone to tell me that worked in a shop, said when a woman walks in the door, the register goes cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. They can actually take advantage, of people. And I think it's important that maybe people know of a place that they can go to first to maybe get an idea, of what it might entail or what it might cost. I know my ex-wife, for instance, took our car in, and it was pulling in the rear wheel. This was back near the drum era. And this was 20 years ago, and they wanted to get her for, $800 for calipers and rotors and drums and brakes. And all it took was the star adjustment in the back, in the back wheel was to be adjusted.
Yeah.
But they were trying to take her for all this, and I know people that do that in muffler shops and other places too.
We had one a couple of weeks ago. A guy was told by the dealer that he needed front and rear brakes, and you took the drum off, and it's a drum brake. So you changed the drums at 1 millimeter. It still had 2 millimeters on it, and a millimeter on a drum brake is going to last you like 10 to 15,000 miles.
Sure.
So we ended up putting front brakes on it. They tried to sell him a brake flush. We looked at his brake fluid, it's fine. They say you're supposed to change your brake fluid every 30,000 miles, but really unless it's really, really dirty, it's not really necessary to change it.
Yeah.
It's good maintenance. It's a good maintenance practice, but if you got an older vehicle,
Yeah.
you know, that has 170,000 miles on it and it's got decent looking brake fluid, the car is only going to last another 30 or 40,000 miles anyway. It's not really necessary to do a brake flush on a vehicle like that.
Yeah.
If you really want to maintain it at, from the beginning, yeah, at 30,000 miles, do a brake flush. At 60, do a brake flush. You'll get a lot longer out of your vehicle. But once you get to 170, it's not really worth it monetarily to invest a lot of money in a vehicle that's not really worth anything.
Yeah. Cool. What would it take to start an automotive free clinic?
A tech.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all you need. A tech and an organization. If
Uh-huh.
you got an organization with a 501c3 and a tech, you can start an automotive free clinic. If you got you don't even really need a tech. If you got somebody that can do brakes, oil changes, spark plugs, tire rotation, stuff like that, basic maintenance stuff, you could start one and you can just do basic stuff. That's what we're doing in Birmingham. Our AFC Birmingham is just doing, brakes, oil changes, spark plugs, tire rotations, coolant flushes, just a little maintenance type stuff. And, I got a guy there that wants to learn about cars. So, we'll work him up and maybe in, 9 months, he'll be able to go out on his own. You got to have tools. But if you found a tech who wanted to do it, I'm sure they would have the tools. We've found that techs are willing to donate their time to do a little work because they really like the idea of the Automotive Free Clinic. We found some techs in Southeast Tennessee. We found some people in Birmingham, and we found some, and we're doing it here in Montgomery.
Yeah.
But and we're doing it here in Montgomery. And yeah, you need tech, tools, and an organization. And if you want it, you might be able to find somebody who had a shop who would willing to do it for a couple hours on Saturday.
What about high school shop? Some of the universities or community colleges, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. I'm trying to figure out what's wrong with this light. I think my bulb just blew. Whatever. I mean, I say be creative with it,
Yeah.
You can find a tech school that's willing to do it at a tech school.
Yeah.
If you can find it at a high school shop that's willing to do it at a high school shop. We don't have necessarily a formula for doing it and being a part of our network. I think that having different models in different places would help the entire network problem solve at specific points in time. So if, High's doing it, he's got some buddies at a shop and they're doing it at their shop on Saturdays. Well, okay, well, how does that work? Well, how can we understand what we're doing based on what they're doing, and what can we learn from each other? So I think having multiple models would be a really a strength for the network.
Sure, I think so.
Yeah, and I agree with that too. And the bottom line with it is that even like what Zach's saying, and what you were saying, if it's just a guy working kind of Saturday for a few hours, that might just be how that AFC starts out. 5 years from now, that AFC could have 3 technicians with a shop and all kinds of tools and a great support network behind it. Alternatively, who knows, the Montgomery, the original AFC could fall apart, and we all, that won't happen. But I'm just saying, we could have some strong AFCs that start off strong, but then maybe will dwindle in time, and that's what I'm saying. There's no rules here. It's kind of all flexible, creative. And the main things that we're trying to do is help the community get from A to B, because that is a domino. If that domino falls, so many other dominoes fall in people's lives. Housing, like what you started this whole conversation about, with people getting to work and being able to make money and survive in this world. So anyway, that's kind of how I see it. Is it is going to be a flexible network where it's real easy to get one going. All you need is somebody interested in cars that knows a little bit, like Zach said, the basics, and we can start there.
And I have a subscription to Mitchell Pro Demand Service Manuals, which I can let people use. I pay $155 a month for it. So, I mean, if y'all want to throw in some money, but I'll definitely let you use it. We also have a really good insurance agent that specializes in nonprofits. And he's insuring our Birmingham shop, and he's going to insure our Montgomery shop. When we get it, we're hoping to get a Montgomery shop in the next 3 to 4 weeks. So we have a really good insurance agent. You do have to have insurance. You know, if you leave a drain plug out and blow up somebody's $10,000 engine, you don't want it coming out of your pocket. So you do need to get insurance. That's one of the things that we require to be in the network, is to have insurance. But like I said, we got a great insurance agent. We can put you in touch with them, and you know, and it would help us out, because the more business we get him, the better off our prices are going to be, and the better off everybody's prices are going to be.
Yeah, I think it's pretty smart to have some type of insurance, you know, because, well, you never know how people are thinking. They could say you broke their car, you know, but I think, is that all it would entail for us to become a part of the AFC network that you have? What would be our first step to, you know, to join it, to try to join it?
So we asked for $50 a month as dues, and I don't really care how you organize it. It's up to you. The only thing we ask for is to get insurance. We have a simple little contract that we have drawn up, and basically it just says, you know, you'll make a Facebook page for it, AFC Huntsville, whatever, and make a Facebook page for it, get insurance, and sign off that we have no liability for you and you have no liability for us. So, you know, if something goes wrong, bad, they're not going to sue the whole network.
Hey,
So,
Zach, can you give us a rough idea of how much a month insurance is going to cost for a Birmingham shop?
it's $1,000 a year.
So it's not prohibitive. I mean, that's not peanuts, but it's not huge.
Yeah, well, actually, it's less than what we were paying for insurance from Liberty Mutual. So we ended up getting a better deal from this guy. So
for $90 a month, you can be insured.
Yeah. Yep.
And as far as getting something started, I figure people need to do the community asset survey thing, figure out what you have, what assets and what resources you have to work with, and then use those to get started and start your community and start getting in touch with people. Then hopefully things will grow and you can add your services as you go. Because one of the important parts of this is what y'all have already discussed, is the education facet. Just getting people, getting in touch with people and having a chance to talk to them and try to start educating them about how our economy works is very important.
Reggie, do you have already going?
I'm sorry?
Is yours already operating in Birmingham?
In Birmingham, yeah, we have Zach's working with somebody here who has some mechanical skill. He's not actually a mechanic, but he's really a good guy. He's a hard worker, and he's managed to come up with a friend who had a garage space in a commercial location. It's just like a garage, it's not a shop exactly. It's just a roll down door in the back of an office building. But so we managed to put that together. And so he and Zach can get together. I guess it's on Sundays. They're scheduling jobs on Sundays for as long as they can figure it out. I mean, Kai is our man's name here in town, and he's got a regular full-time job. So he can't keep the thing open several days a week.
Yeah.
But we are in operation. Zach tells me they've got jobs scheduled out for the next 8 weeks or so.
Yeah. And you don't have membership either, right? Other than, you don't take individual membership in it or anything?
No, that really hasn't come up. It's just like whoever wants to pitch in and help is part of the organization.
Okay.
The only membership is that, we ask people that want to be affiliated with the group to pay $50 a month.
Yeah.
Or is that $50 a month, Zach? Or
Yeah, it's $50 a month.
so, and that we would use that for, like Zach said, we've bought this Mitchell Pro Demand, which is a software that gives you access to pretty much every manual for every vehicle ever made.
Yeah.
And Zach's got some diagnostic hardware too, I think. I mean, software.
And we'll probably have our popular education on there too. At least some popular education on there too.
We're hoping at some point we can do, maybe the idea has been discussed. It's not in development yet, but it would be great if we could have some kind of parts cooperative that our various members could use to buy parts through at a reduced cost too.
Okay. The $50 a month, does that allow, say, if we start one here, to use the software that you have?
Look, if you don't want to pay $50 a month, we don't care. You don't have to. We're just asking for it.
Yeah.
You can use the software if you don't pay $50 a month.
Okay.
It's totally fine. We're not trying to fleece people here. If you ain't got it,
No.
you need
No,
to
I
come.
understand. No, I understand that. I just didn't know exactly what is the $50 for. Is it?
It's for Mitchell Pro Demand and for us to keep the federated network up.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's good. All right.
Zach mentioned before too that any income we get, part of it is earmarked for reparations to Black and Indigenous led organizations.
Yeah, that's good. Is that, that's going to be in, let me ask a question about that. If we get up and rolling, that fund, could that be used for any organization here too?
Right now, we have about $3,000 a month in revenue, and we're giving all of that to Dynamite Hill Smithfield Community Land Trust.
Okay, I understand. Yeah.
If we get going in Montgomery with the public housing, we will be helping public housing residents start their own organizations, and it will be a capital fund for their organizations.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the short answer is probably not.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that is one aspect I think of each individual AFC when it gets created is there's going to be a fundraising element, or at least you're going to have some sort of financial support, a support system around that tech, basically, whoever that will be,
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's part of it,
Well, what about parts? Do you get if someone needs a part, and they can't afford it, do you buy the part for them or arrange for them to get a part?
We have before. When we had grant money, we would repair cars for 100% free. But if we don't have grant money to do that, they pay commercial costs for the part. We have a commercial account, and they just pay straight cost. I have a community member needs a radiator. I told her it was $200. She went and found a used radiator for like $75.
Yeah.
So, we don't really have time to, ride all over Hell's Creation looking through junkyards for used parts. But if somebody wants to bring their own part, we have no problem with it.
All right. Well, that sounds good. Sounds really good. All right. Generally, we take the next few minutes for people with questions. Do people have questions?
I imagine this is more important in areas like Huntsville, where there's really no public transportation to speak of. Not very useful because it's only certain days, only certain hours. How's the public transportation in Birmingham?
Non-existent.
Horrible.
Yeah, so very important.
Yeah.
And then you got rural areas where people can't get to doctor's appointments. I mean, you're talking about transportation infrastructure that is just so abysmally terrible that, somebody having a operating vehicle is easily can be seen as a survival problem.
Yeah.
I think we've had one customer in Birmingham who actually was homeless and they needed somebody to put some tires on their car for them.
Yeah.
And so in some cases, we're not talking about just transportation. We may be talking about your home.
Yeah.
I thought that might be interesting to have because I know you don't do a lot of work with homeless in Huntsville there, and people are living in their cars. Then keeping their car able to operate is vital.
Yeah. We just recently had some success with a couple that were living in their car, and we had to work on their car a little bit. We found a camper for them to sleep in, and then we finally got them into, because of that, we finally got them into housing, and they have the car now that they can get back and forth to work. So they took them off the street, out of the car, now working, but it was doing pretty much the same thing that the Automotive Free Clinic was doing in terms of getting them going, treating it as a survival program. And, that was with Courtney Brown, who was a part of our board. She's with Alabama Solutions. And I think she can generally find anything anywhere. But we really appreciate. Is there anything else? Any other questions?
Yeah, I wanted to say something right before we left. Yeah. We had a really great comrade pass yesterday, Zach Patterson.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to lift his family up and the Party for Socialism and Liberation up to tonight, and have everybody think about Zach, his family. It's a really tragic situation. So I just wanted to acknowledge that happened and have us all thinking about it.
We will do that. And since there's not many questions, can you give us a couple of success stories or a success story, with people that you've served?
Yeah, we've fixed a bunch of brakes. We actually repaired a black woman's car. It needed a cooling fan motor. We diagnosed it and we fixed it for completely free as a reparations program.
Mm-hmm.
We've worked on over 50 vehicles since the beginning of the pandemic. Most of it's been little stuff. We have 4 people who have signed up for our maintenance package, which is a really inexpensive way to keep your vehicle maintained, and it's on a sliding scale based on income. We bought a bunch of tools. We probably have $8,000 worth of tools. And we've done it all mobile. We've gone to people's houses and jacked up cars on hills and, worked in driveways and, it's been hard. I'm not going to lie. It's been very difficult. And now that we got this shop in Birmingham, I don't want to do anything on a driveway anymore. I'm like, man, I'm spoiled. I got a shop. I got a flat surface to work on. And I can't even remember all the cars we've worked on thus far. We work on about 2 a week. We've given away 2 cars to. I went out to a guy's house named Norman Edwards, and his car wouldn't start. I cranked on it. Obviously, the timing chain's broken. I tested the compression, and it had no compression. And I said, man, this car's junkyard car. Is a 05 Saturn. It's like, this is a $150 car. Send it to the junkyard. We'll find you another car. Well, we found him a Cadillac, and we got him an 05 Cadillac STS. And then we had another community member. She had a check engine light on, running rough, knock sensor code, motors knocking. '03 Kia Sedona. It's also a junkyard car. And we found her a 99 Ford Explorer in pretty good shape, and we gave that away. And we're going to keep doing this with the cars. I have a friend in Charlotte who's a used car dealer, and she has invited me to come in April and to an auction, and she's going to buy some cheap cars and donate them to the Automotive Free Clinic for a tax break. So we're going to go up to Charlotte in April. We may even buy a couple of cars ourselves and drive them back to Montgomery and give them away. So, you can donate vehicles to nonprofits. We could, if you got a junk vehicle, well, we don't want a junk vehicle. We want it to be running. But if you got a vehicle that's old and might need a little bit of work, let us know. And we'll take it, fix it up, and give it to somebody.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds great.
One of my favorite stories is from the one of the first events that we ever did with the Automotive Free Clinic. We had a free oil change for single mothers, and people at Zach's church were kind enough to let us use their parking lot. And we had one lady that came in an enormous Suburban to get an oil change, and Zach and his helper discovered that her braking system was on the verge of total failure, and which she didn't even realize, and all the bulbs in the vehicle, pretty much taillights and everything, were burnt out. So they managed to get this woman back in a safe condition pretty much right on the spot, which was amazing to me.
Yeah, she's getting the radiator. The person who got the used radiator, it's the same lady. So we're having repeat people come to us,
Good.
So
Good. Yeah, well, you saved her some tickets,
Reggie stole my story.
Hey, we got
Sorry, Josh.
a question come in on the chat. Victor, who can't unmute, talked about how Zach helped his friend who couldn't speak English get his car fixed over the phone. So maybe you can talk about the experience of consulting across languages.
I vaguely remember that, to be quite honest. I don't even remember what was wrong with the vehicle. I think it had it needed a intake hose, and he was looking at the dealer intake hose. It's like $400 or something like that. And I started looking around. I'm like, I bet you could get a cold air intake hose for like $100. And I found him a cold air intake hose, which actually makes the vehicle more of a hot rod. It's got more oxygen going into the intake, so it makes it faster. So I was like, get you one of these cold air intake hoses and you'll be fine. So yeah, we helped him out, and Victor translated for me. And I vaguely remember that. I've worked on so many cars in the past year, I don't remember all this stuff.
Well, we appreciate what you're doing, Zach, you and Josh and Reggie. Everybody's involved in that program, because this is what makes it all go around, when we can all work together. And appreciate you guys giving of yourself for that. It's really important. What was that? My friend saved $300 on that little plastic. Okay. Guess Victor's saying that you saved $300 on that hose. And that's a big deal. That's a real big deal.
I know that she's like, thank y'all for doing this, all this sort. I'm having a blast.
Yeah.
I mean, I think all of us are. I think Josh is having a blast. Reggie's having a blast. I mean, we're having fun. It's fun to do this work, man, and meet and hang out and stuff. It's just, I'm having a rip-roaring good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get to affect people's lives in a positive way and share yourself, and you get to learn about others. And I also wanted to thank you too, Hi, for having us on your Fireside chat. I appreciate that.
Hey, it's our honor or privilege to have you guys on here, and we'd like to have you back again. What we will do is This will be edited and put on our site, as well as it'll be on YouTube. And we're building Tennessee Tech University is building our library, and it'll be in our library so people can, can take a look at it as a resource. People can use it as a, a research resource or whatever. So, we appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. And all power to all people.
Yes, sir.
All right. And looking forward to talking to you guys again. Thanks.
All right. See y'all later. Thanks, Hy.
Yeah.
Thanks, Hy.
Thanks.
See ya.
Fireside Chats is a production of North Alabama School for Organizers. NASO seeks to empower communities through intersectional education and training. More information, including upcoming classes, at naso.network. Thank you for joining us for Fireside Chats.